On Hot Picks today, we are drilling in on software as part of a broader look at three large caps with dividends. Let's start off with Microsoft. It's a top selection of our guest, Don Nesbitt, portfolio manager at Emerald Advisors. Thanks very much indeed for coming on, Don.
Hi, thanks for having me. And yes, I just heard on your previous guest talking about software and Microsoft. So we talk about how the whole software sector has just been decimated by the concerns over AI. But we think Microsoft is going to actually be a benefactor of the whole AI movement. It's going to help enhance their products. So externally for their products, it should be a great selling point. And internally too, it's helping the company, like many others, become more efficient. So I think your previous guest also mentioned there's going to be winners and losers in this space. Software, because of its size, its dominance, its large customer base, we think that it's going to be a winner.
Why has Microsoft dropped so much this year? It's down more than 15%.
Yeah, great question. And it all began after about 2 quarters ago when they announced their earnings. And they had a strong earnings beat, strong revenue beat, which is, by the way, what we look for in stocks. However, the expectations built around it were just disappointing. It was kind of funny, and it centered, I believe, on its Azure cloud and the fact that it only grew at 39% instead of 40% that the street was looking. And that seemed to kind of kick off the whole downward spiral that we've seen over the last 6 months or so.
So just a marginal slip on the Azure growth was a crucial reason for the drop, do you think?
Yeah, that seemed to be the thing, because otherwise they had a pretty stellar report. Same thing with the most recent quarter, another good quarter. But once momentum gets going, momentum's a strong factor, and it can build on itself. And we've seen that in the whole sector here with software, where it's starting to, it's literally had a bear market. Microsoft itself is off more than 25% off its highs.
You say that the multiple, it's not guaranteed that investors will be willing to pay the current or a higher multiple for the stock. Partly, one of the questions here is whether cloud monetization will come through for them. What do you mean by that? Actual profits from their cloud hosting?
Correct. Obviously, all these AI innovations, tech in general, it has to come through in the bottom line's earnings. Now, the interesting thing about Microsoft, I think it's selling at something like 20 times forward or 25 times forward earnings. But where it's really strong is its price to cash flow, which is about 18 times. So Microsoft is a very strong cash flow generator. Compare that to somebody, what has been a recent market darling, NVIDIA. NVIDIA sells for something like 55 times its cash flow.
Let's get on to a name in pharma, AbbVie. Now, one of their huge products has been Humira, used to treat autoimmune conditions. But of course, they have other medications. What do you like about AbbVie, broadly speaking?
Yeah, of course, Humira, they lost their exclusivity there, but they've been replacing it with other products. They've got a strong pipeline. Kind of continuing on with this AI theme, the healthcare sector in general is going to benefit greatly from AI. And unlike some of the other things we've seen, with the software, with, for example, wealth management, the insurance industry, all these, some real estate management, these industries that got beaten up last week over AI concerns. AI is going to be a big help and developer to the pharmaceutical industry. And not only on their side, but also the FDA is using AI to help streamline and process the regulation and the approval of these drugs. So the whole industry should develop, or should benefit from the AI movement.
It's going to be interesting. I guess things like checking side effects, they'll be able to find, is there correlations to lifestyle or genetics?
Exactly. I mean, AI is going to be a real big contributor to them. And again, not only on the products they sell, and but on the operating efficiencies and developing these drugs and so forth. It's obviously a very data-intensive industry, and it can benefit from AI.
And they've been a pretty steady dividend grower over the past few years, and the yield not too shabby, 3%.
Exactly, and this is the kind of stock we like to own. What we call a dividend grower. By the way, Microsoft would also be characterized as a dividend grower. It doesn't have much of a yield at 90 basis points, but it's growing. And AbbVie is in the same situation here. It's been a very good performer for us in our dividend portfolio strategy.
And just finally, PNC Financial, we're a bit tight for time, a huge U.S. lender.
Sure, super regional that continues to grow and is taking on a national presence. Again, they're benefiting from AI. I think, and the bottom line, and for the fourth quarter earnings, they said it added 30 points to their profit margins, and expect it to continue to grow as they use it to again operate more efficiently. Of course, investors love banks, don't they? Banks traditionally woo shareholders with dividends. Yes. Yeah, it's a good point. The banking sector has been a very strong dividend growing area of the market.
Where do you come down on the great dividend versus share buyback debate?
Yeah, theoretically they're equal, but if a company raises its dividend, because that should be maintained, that basically sends a message to us of higher quality. So a buyback can happen at any time, and it's a one-time event. But dividends, companies do not like to cut dividends because that's viewed poorly. So if they're able to raise dividends as opposed to a buyback, that instills a vote of confidence for us.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.